Hello. I'm going to talk about exploration discovery at Redmoor. It's just a competent person statement to cover anything I'm going to say. So what I'm going to talk about, I'm going to give a little background about me. Obviously, this is an early career Geologist award. I'm going to talk about why explore at Redmoor, discuss Redmoor, the location, geology, history, some recent activities, key developments, and then sort of close with some next steps. So I'm from Cornwall, I'm from Truro. I went to Plymouth University and I did an undergrad in marine geoscience. Here I am in Ienza in Spain doing a mapping project. I graduated in 2014 and I decided I wanted to specialise in mining, so I went to CSM. Here I am, Namibia. Following graduation in mining geology, it turns out I graduated a bit of a lull. So I decided that I wanted to try and get some experience, so I turned to engineering. Here's a particularly sassy picture of me doing some breaking out in London. After that, working for about a year in London, I decided that I had enough. So moved to Gloucester, where of course I spent 85% of my time working in London. And then in 2017, I landed my first job in exploration. So here I am working with Inferred Resources in the core shed. Why explore? As technology advances, it sort of emerges, there's an increasing demand for more and more diverse metals. These metals are recognised by a number of organisations, including the BGS, who released the risk list in 2015, which sort of listed them based on problems with supply, whether this being that the metals come from one country, such as the rare earth elements mainly come from China, or if there's political problems, things like that. The three metals that I'm going to be talking about further today are tungsten, which is ranked 8th, tin and copper, which is slightly lower down. These are the metals that we have at Redmoor. These are metal prices, just to sort of show you the general trend. Copper and tin, the data goes back to 1960. This was a little peak during the 1980s with a tin crash in 1985. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that later. And obviously copper has been on the up. Tungsten is sort of generally high, but has started to come sort of increase again. So, Redmoor. Redmoor is located in Cornwall. It's located in East Cornwall. Cornwall being quite famous for its granites. You've got all of the mineralisation, most of the mineralisation is related to these granites. The Redmoor deposit is here, between Bolton and Dartmoor granites, close to Plymouth, in a little place called Kellybrae. The geology at Redmoor, we're quite lucky, as we have our own little granite polar, known as Kit Hill granite. That's intruded in some Devonian slates, and the Devonian slates are the things that host our mineralisation, shown by this little pink blob, and we're fortunate to have our site office right next to it, which is sort of shown by this little yellow star. Redmoor was originally a site of intense mining. If you look around now, you can see the engine houses. This is a picture from the height of mining. It's even so famous, or so significant rather, that it features on the front cover of Dimes Volume 2, which we consider to be the Southwest Mining Bible. It sort of details every sort of deposit. We're quite lucky at Inferred Resources because during the 1980s there was a spate of modern exploration carried out by a company called SWM, who had a 30-hole diamond drilling program. Of course, as mentioned, in 1985 the tin price crashed, which put a stop to their work. That data was sort of just sat around. It was digitised and then handed to Inferred Resources, which is the start of our involvement. In 2017, we enlisted Energold to drill out a couple of the targets identified by SWM, and here they are working. So the mineralisation at Redmoor comprises a number of lode structures. You've got Kellybrae, Johnson's Lode, they both dip to the south. You've got a number of north-south lead-silver lodes, and then you've got this, what was initially thought to be a large tonnage, low-grade sheet of vein system. The Kellybrae and Johnson lodes, they were extensively worked historically, They did form one of our exploration targets towards the start of the programme, but we retasked ourselves when we started to realise some things about the sheet of vein system. Within the sheet of vein system are a number of high-grade, amenable sort of zones which are amenable to modern mining. Here's an example of those zones. So just focusing on the SVS, obviously we've still got the Calibre and Johnson's lodes. There's still exploration potential, but just on the SVS, last year we developed an Inferred Resource of 4.5 million tonnes at 1% tin equivalent. Tin equivalent just being a normalised figure for tungsten, tin and copper at today's metal prices. This is a significant win for Cornwall Resources, but something that's I find slightly more significant for me are the structural measurements. Here is a stereo net sort of showing numerous structural measurements which I'm largely responsible for. They were important in developing the model. Stepping back from that slightly, we've got our large tonnage low-grade body. This is from the data that was given to us by SWM, so the 1980s. With the structural data and, of course, all of the drill hole assays, we were able to link these up into these high-grade zones. As you can note, there's slightly steeper dipping than was originally thought during the 1980s. So now looking at, so this is a long section which looks to the south. It has our, this is our Inferred Resource. So these are the high-grade sections within the SVS. You've got a number of cross courses or fault structures, again, which we're able to link up between drill holes using structural data. And you've got, on the red here, you've got a granite. It's a model. It's not, we don't think it's a blob. And then, of course, from the structural data, all of that points to new areas for exploration. So, our next steps. As said, in 2017, we completed our drilling program. We developed a geological model. We produced our Inferred Resource. We carried out some core evaluations, so we got hold of the 1980s core. We looked at their logging to check and see if they'd missed any mineralisation. We carried out some regional mapping to identify any historic mine features, and we carried out a geophysical survey. Again, all with the aim of generating some new exploration prospects. These prospects we're hoping to drill out later this year, so the drilling starts in 10 days. So our aim is to constrain the model and improve the resource. We're hoping to develop a prospect which can reduce the risks relating to some of the identified critical metals. And we're hoping to inspire others to revitalise mining in Cornwall. But most of all, we're hoping to find some more of this, which is some of our high-grade intercepts. You've got tungsten, copper, and this is just a typical example of our SVS mineralisation. Thank you very much.